Good morning, everybody. It's 9:05. This is the Marshall County Board of Supervisors regular session meeting on September 14th, 2021, 1 East Main Street, Grand Courtroom, and via Zoom. Our agenda today starts off with a notice to the public. The Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given an opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and a roll call vote will follow. Our meeting is called to order at 9:05. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sherry, would you call the roll, please?
Thompson.
Present.
Patton.
Present.
Slosson.
Present. Okay, we're all here. I am going to adjust our agenda this morning. We have an individual that has another meeting and needs to do their report and leave. So I'm going to turn this over to Kim and Rhonda for their report today to the board. Gals, bring us up to speed.
Morning.
Good morning, Kim.
So just kind of a real quick overview of what EMA has been up to, which I'm sure everybody knows we're all kind of in the same boat. And then a report on some education that we were able to take in. So as everybody knows, probably over the last 3 years, nothing but focusing on disasters and hopefully recovery has been going on. So at least that long, but I know myself, I have not been out of the state for about 6 years for any type of training. I know that's very important for the growth and improvement of Marshall County's emergency management. And so just kind of tried to focus on looking at education opportunities that we can go to attend other than online, which has been a real challenge lately, of course, with COVID and all the restrictions. But I was able to get a grant through the state public health dollars for a scholarship to the National Homeland Security Conference. Had never been to that one and decided it was something I really needed to do to improve myself, to improve my office, and had the chance to look into it. It had a lot of really good tracks on it. Had law enforcement, emergency management, public health, communications, just a lot of really good tracks that I could learn from. Talked to public health, and Pat was, of course, still extremely busy, so she was not able to attend. And I talked to Rhonda with communications, and she said, sure, even though I would just be coming back from another annual conference that I would be going to, I'd love to go. And so we were both able to go. That was, I don't know, a week and a half ago that we got back. And I can't say enough about appreciating the chance to get there. A lot of great education with the tracks that they had. I kind of skipped around with different ones, some of them public health related, since I am on the Board of Health and work in conjunction with them quite a bit. But some EMA and some even law enforcement oriented. But the collaboration that you get when you go and network with others that are there at these conferences is just invaluable. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew how much information that we bring back from these. It's not just all fun and games. They do have a few things that they get together and do some post socials in the evenings after you're in class all day. Those are great too for networking, but it also builds a lot of relationships that go on into the future. We were able to meet even, people that are going to host next year in Cleveland, and those individuals were very open to finding out what we liked and what we didn't like and what we'd like to see next year. I've already budgeted. I budget every year for some education, but I have budgeted into another grant to attend next year if at all possible. It's just amazing how many new ideas that you get from the experiences that you have there at something outside of your own state. We get to collaborate and work with our own state colleagues quite a bit, but to get outside of that box and learn from their experiences and see what they did during disasters, during events, how they work on grants differently, meet with the vendors. Even though you may not buy something, you get a lot of really good ideas from them, just things you hadn't thought of before. So just kind of going over those things was a really, really good experience, I think. Really needed to get outside that box and look at things. So that was, like I said, it was about a week-long conference, and I can't say enough about appreciating that. I know there are some dollars put forth from the county also on that outside of my budget. And then I just started in the NACO, performance, leadership performance 16-week class, hopefully graduating in December, and just started that this week. Hopefully, again, bringing some new ideas into what I do and how I do it. I think education is ongoing every day, and if we don't do that, it's it kind of gets us into a stalemate, or we stay inside that box, like I said. So just kind of wanted to give you an update on what's going on. Still working on the 5-year cycle of renewing the hazard mitigation grant. We're really close to turning that into FEMA. I think we've lacked about 3 different partners to finish their part, but otherwise we're real close. And the new recovery plan that I've been working on should be advancing. Then after that is done, I kind of try not to mix them up too much. It confuses our partners, but I think that, and then PPE. We're starting to get a lot more PPE. I'm doing quite a few runs in the last week since I've been back from conference, starting to stockpile our PPE again because of COVID. We've gotten quite a few requests from individual, either schools that need masks and other things, also with the nursing home and long-term care facilities. So I'll be going down to get another large load of that from the state today. So I think that's about all I have. Rhonda, I'm sorry I took up all the time there. I wanted to get all mine in so you could add your part.
No, you're fine, Kim. I just want to reiterate what Kim was saying. So part of going to this conference, because we also during downtime, not only just the networking portion of it, but we also had our own job duties to do. So Kim was on email, I was on the email. We were still, dealing with things back home. But one of the things that these conferences bring, as well as outside training, is we get into this, and I think everyone can agree to this, we get into this pattern and we get into this groove of, well, this is the way that we've always done it. And part of this networking is also learning from other agencies, because a disaster is a disaster is a disaster. It doesn't matter if it's an earthquake, if it's a tornado, if it's a hurricane. We all have different ways and methodologies of utilizing it. So when you can learn something new, or learn a new way, or something maybe we haven't utilized in the past, that's what helps us grow as communities. So we were able to do some really good networking. We met people down there and we have contacts now from DC, from Alabama, from Texas, from Ohio, from what was the other? Washington.
Delaware.
So, and those are just some of the, the people that we were talking to a little bit more intensively. But then going to these classes, and then of course in downtime talking about grants and the different information that we learned from the grants there, because, we work on grants. That's how we're able to get a lot more things for our community. And the grants that, Kim has been able to ascertain, the ones that I've gotten, the ones that, other members in our community have gotten, that helps us continue to grow. So being able to have that opportunity and continued opportunity is extremely important for our jurisdiction. So we thank you.
What was the number one thing you brought back from this conference?
Knowledge of how to do things a little bit differently than what we currently do. So having those other perspectives, those outside perspectives of things that other people have tried that, oh, you know what, we haven't really thought about that. So in essence, it comes down to that networking and having those links so that we can contact them at a later date and having those continued relationships as moving forward, because that's how we learn to grow and do things a little bit differently that help us even better and grow better.
I would agree, absolutely. And, some of those people that we were networking with, maybe it was just sitting there having supper in the evenings. They were actually experiencing disasters while we were there. So Delaware, they were having some major flooding, some major storms while we were there because of the hurricane moving up. And so just listening to them answering them phone and working through their things and then getting off the phone and saying, here's what's really going on and here's how we're dealing with it. We're not going to get a hurricane, but obviously, a derecho did a lot of damage here, and they called it our inland hurricane. So we compared notes and looked at ways that they were doing things. So I agree. The networking, I think, is the number one. Going to the classes is great. You get to learn how people dealt with their own things or some new ideas and things, but that networking, I think, is absolutely number one. Just learning outside of our box.
And when you look at those classes, when you put together a class, you're putting together basically the point A to Z, right? But when you're talking to somebody in real life, you're also getting that back end, those things that are not in classes, those things that came up that you just had to kind of roll with and deal with. I think we can also agree that every jurisdiction is slightly different. What works at my agency won't necessarily work at the next agency or the next agency or the next. So having those different ways, from like a small sized agency to a very large sized agency, and how they deal with things, what pieces can we take from here that would fit into like the Marshall County way and be able to grow and prosper from that.
Okay, anything else?
At least it wasn't all fun and games, though, is kind of what I picked up.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of walking. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I got my exercise in for the year, so there's that.
The wellness program.
Yeah,
the wellness program was well wrapped up in that's for sure. We were definitely working off any little bit of dessert that we may have had there. So yeah, it was definitely great. Look forward to, I know Rhonda spoke to Cleveland right as we were leaving, and they were wanting us actually to talk to them directly and get some more ideas on their conference. This one was held a little later than usual just due to COVID and some planning out there and in Nevada where they were holding it because of the restrictions. But Cleveland's will be in mid-July, so it's going to take a little work on our part because there are a couple of other conferences very close to that. But I think it's definitely one I want to go back to. Well worth the money, well worth the time spent there.
The knowledge gain is invaluable.
Is it held every year?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's an every year conference, kind of like the APCO one that I attend. It's every year, and again, like she said, it's usually in July. But this year it was pushed back, so hopefully next year it stays and it's not going to get pushed back. But it should be. I think it was July 12th through the 16th next year.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll hope to go again next year?
Yeah.
Is that the plan?
Yeah. It really benefits both Kim's and my position because of the jobs that we do and the things that we do together, along with the mitigation strategies and on top of that, the grants. So it's extremely beneficial to help us continue the path that we're taking and trying to get these grants and get the mitigation for Marshall County.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and I did talk to Pat Thompson yesterday and filled her in on what was offered for public health. And I would encourage public health and or some Board of Health members to go to. There were just a lot, and I'm sure there's going to be even more lessons learned stated next year because of COVID and how we're learning things as things progress. So yeah, definitely a great conference. And I
Okay.
appreciate everybody helping out for us to get there.
Okay, thank you, Kim. I know you got another meeting. Rhonda, if you do too, don't feel the need that you have to stick around for the rest of our meeting.
No, you're good.
So if you need to leave, feel free to go ahead. Gonna back up to the agenda and go back to item number 4, which is approval or amendment of the agenda. I'll entertain motions on this item, please.
I believe we need to amend this agenda, am I correct?
We need to amend the resolution for the Region 6 Trust Fund. We made a small change on that.
So we need to include that.
And that's in the or in the agenda already, isn't, or is it?
Yes,
What item number is it?
12.
That's
Number
number
12.
12. Okay, that's already in there, it's number
Yep.
12. I don't know that reordering.
So there's no reason
I don't
to,
think
okay,
so,
amend.
no.
Sherry caught that we just needed to state that it's for a public purpose.
I just make a move then that we approve the agenda as printed.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as printed. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes,
Benton.
Yes.
motion carries. On to item 5 this morning is our consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of our regular session of August 31st, 2021. Approval of claims. Approved claims as audited and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of the claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid in the current month will be published as part of the first meeting of the following month. C is file Clerk of District Court Report, August 2021, general supplemental surcharge of $493.01. Item D is our manure management plans. First one is for MDH Finishers, number 62120 at 1671 140th Street, Union, Iowa, no changes. Item 2 is Norman Pork LLC, number 59367, 1105 Fairmont Avenue, Union, Iowa, acres have been added. I will entertain motions on the consent agenda as printed.
Chairman, I would move that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve as printed. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Benton.
Yes.
Moving on to item 6 this morning. This is a public hearing. Let the record reflect that the public hearing is opening at 9:23 a.m. This is a public hearing to convey property acquired for the Green Mountain Sewer Project by quitclaim deed to the Iowa Regional Utilities Association. The public hearing was opened at 9:23 a.m. Madam Auditor, did we receive any written comments in the mail?
None that I have received, no.
And have we had any oral comments of anybody calling in? Is there anybody here this morning on Zoom or in person that would like to make any comments on this matter? That being said, I will entertain motions to close the public hearing at 9:24.
I would so move.
We have a motion
I'd second that.
and then a second to close the public hearing at 9:24. I do not see
You don't require a vote, but you may. if
we
you
don't,
like.
let's just do it for,
Sure. Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson,
yes?
Benton.
Yes.
Okay. Item 7 is the adoption of resolution number 2021-0034, adopting tentative resolution providing for the conveyance by quitclaim deed herein described from Marshall County, Iowa to the Iowa Regional Utilities Association. I'm not going to go through and read this in its entirety. The basic part is this property was acquired by Marshall County, and part of our donation to this project for the sewer project in Green Mountain is we are conveying the property to Iowa, to the Regional Utilities Association. Pretty much sum that up.
That's good.
Okay. This has been a long-term project we've been working on for more than 11 years, and This is one of the last steps in getting this approved so that they can take care of construction. I'll entertain motions on adopting this resolution, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt Resolution 2021-0034, adopting tentative resolution providing for the conveyance of quitclaim deed herein described from Marshall County, Iowa to Iowa Regional Utilities Association.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to adopt this resolution. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Slosson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 8 on our agenda this morning is to consider a 2080 agreement with Hardin County regarding the resurfacing of S75, also known as Marsh Avenue, from 310th Street in Hardin County to E18, also known as Marble Road. Paul, you want to bring us up to speed on this, please?
This is just a way that we can take, we have a small project, it'd be 1.5 miles in length, and Hardin County had 3 miles of road that's in a similar condition. They're doing a project, and we talked with them, decided it was a great time to just put them in one project. It helps with letting prices, somewhat, and gets both projects done as one. They'll have divisions. There'll be a Marshall County division and a Hardin division. We pay for our part, they pay for their part. It's essentially 2 separate projects, just that they're tied together and they'll be let together, so the same contractor will do them both. Be funded with farm to market money.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the 2080 agreement with Hardin County regarding the resurfacing of S75 Marsh Avenue from 310 Street to Hardin County to E18 Marble Road.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve this 2080. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Slosson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9 this morning is to approve a new hire in the treasurer's office, universal clerk, Leah Luenzi, permanent full-time at 40 hours per week at $17.05 an hour, start date on or after September 15th, 2021. Entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the new hire, Treasurer's Office, Universal Clerk, Leah Luenz, permanent full-time, 40 hours per week, $17.05 an hour, start date on or after September 15th of 2021.
And Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve. Any further discussion? There being none. Dan, any comments?
Now, this is, and Jarrett can talk to that too. This is a replacement for the individual that I hired away from him.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Slosson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Item 10 on our agenda this morning is to approve a new hire at the Sheriff's Department. Deputy Sheriff Tanner Hunt, permanent full-time, $26.77 with an hour with a start date on or after 9/19/2021. I did speak to the sheriff. This is an individual coming to us from another organization.
Ben's on too.
And this is not increasing our staffing. It's getting very close to bringing us up to full staffing. Ben, do you have anything to add to that?
Tanner's coming to us from the Marshtown Police Department. He's been there almost 6 years now. He is a Marshtown native. He's very involved there. He's an instructor in a couple different areas. He's a child passenger safety seat technician, currently on the SWAT team as well. So he's got a lot of assets he's bringing over to us. And he will be a replacement hire for the vacancy created by Tim Hungerford's retirement back in January.
Well, our congratulations to Hungerford on his retirement, and I'll entertain motions on this new hire, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to hire a new hire, Sheriff's Department, Deputy Sheriff Tanner Hunt, permanent full-time, $26.77 per hour, start date on or after 9/19/2021.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this new hire. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Slosson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes,
Patton.
Yes.
motion carries. Congratulations. The sheriff has been doing a phenomenal job at acquiring new employees. I know he's got another one coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's nice to see people joining our organization. He must be doing everything the right way. Moving on to item number 11 this morning is a review of the Marshall County ARPA Committee recommendations and approval of the following project expenditures to be paid for from the American Rescue League Plan Act, ARPA, for a total of $492,386.79. The first one is a Region 6 Housing Trust Fund, $27,461. What this is the county's match for this trust fund. The county has to match that, and it allows Region 6 to get remaining funds from the state of Iowa. So our 27,000 allows Marshall County to receive $144,531. Mike, you want to talk to us about the Timmins Shower House?
Sure. One of the items on the comprehensive plan of the Marshall County Conservation Board has been to make improvements to facilities that we manage to maintain throughout the county. One of them being Timmins Grove Campground. Over the last 10, 12 years, we've made some minor improvements there, installing a little water, upgrading the electrical system for the increased capacity of camping units, RV units. The next step to improvements was to install a shower house. And this comes at a request of people that are using the facility. We've polled them in person, asking them what would make this facility more attractive, more suitable for longer stays, and always it's a shower house. So we looked into funding possibilities for this type of facility, what comparable type campgrounds have installed for use. We got with Klepp Garber to give us cost estimates, engineering for the structure. So we applied for a grant. The total project cost came up to $300,000 to $30,000 as an estimate. And I know Matt's with us now if he has anything to add to it if necessary. So anyway, we applied for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for $150,000, which is almost half the project cost. We were approved for that. So we're looking at filling that gap in with additional funding sources, and if we can do that with ARPA funding, that would top the project off and allow us to use our fundraising efforts at other projects in the future, foreseeable future. Sand Lake coming on as one of those, and so if we can save resources for other projects to move on, we'd like to do that with these ARPA funds. But it does fall within the categories of acceptance for ARPA. Tourism, this will have a septic system involved with it, obviously for the shower and restroom facilities. It'll be a small septic system, kind of a non-conventional, and I don't know if Matt probably has a better explanation of the leach field, which is not really a leach field. It will actually be a treatment type structure that will allow for wastewater to be disposed of actually on the surface out into a creek nearby. So that's kind of the project in a nutshell.
How are we coming down at Greencastle?
It's still stagnant.
Okay.
If we could, that was another thought, get it comparable structure facility like this down there. We could move in, not necessarily primitive conditions, obviously with the full shower, but we'd have to for water hookups at this time,
Okay.
if we do that. But again, right now it's still stagnated because of the immensity of the project.
One more question. How many sites do we have out to Timmins?
Currently, we have 18 electrical hookups with capacity to put an additional 9 in, with relatively low cost. So if camping demand increases to the point that it's warranted, we'll do that immediately. Other campgrounds in the vicinity have seen, when they've installed shower houses, they've seen an initial increase of 30 to 40% camping use, and then leveled off at a steady increase of 60% increased use with this added amenity.
Okay, you guys have any other questions?
Oh, yeah.
Does this unique septic system, does that add quite a bit to the cost?
No,
of
it's
this
actually
project?
less.
It's actually less.
It's lesser than a conventional leach field, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me right now. Matt, do you know what that cost savings was, the difference was between the conventional leach field and the treatment system?
Cole's got the numbers in front of him. He can dial in, but it was just the amount of pipe length that we needed and just the space needed for this conventional leach field was such a large amount of pipe that it just added cost.
Okay.
Being so close to the river, do you have to put in a berm system, or have you got enough distance between the leach field and the arable water?
There's enough distance. Actually, the effluent coming out of the system is very clean. We daylight the pipe out to just to the west of the pond, of the campground. There's some elevation change that drops it down.
Okay. Item 3 on our projects is secondary roads, radios, and base units. Paul, you want to fill us in on that, please?
This is a budgetary estimate that I was able to get from Raycom. It's for 75 mobile installations on our estimating that we would do 75 pieces of equipment that would have radios installed in them for the new P25 system that we're in the process of upgrading. And so it would be basically a turnout of every single one of our radios. I have not investigated if there's any value to the radios that we currently have installed with VHF, and we can consult with Raycom on that. I'm not sure there'd be much value there. And then the only thing that may be a difference is likely the unit. Usually what I do in my truck is just get a portable, a handheld. So mine, instead of being installed in the vehicle, would be a portable unit.
Okay. This next one I'm very pleased about. I've always felt that our reserve deputies and our courthouse security should have the tactical vests. They come in contact with some of the most unhappy people on a daily basis there is. Ben, you want to bring us up to speed on the tactical vests, please?
Yeah, so this $30,000 is being allocated towards tactical vest carriers or outer vest carriers. With this, that allows us to carry equipment that doesn't always fit on our duty belts. Anybody that's seen the police duty belt realizes how much equipment's on there. There's only so much space, and because of that limited space, you have to pick and choose what you carry. And by going to these vest carriers, they allow you to attach pouches or carriers for equipment on that vest directly. That allows us to carry primarily our focus of this project is allowing us to make sure we're carrying all the proper PPE on us all the time. Part of this program too, these outer carriers do allow the insertion of your ballistic armor in there. So these will be fitted for the courthouse security and reserves with the armor. For patrol, we'll move our existing body armor into there. The rifle plates and armor that were purchased through the fundraising a few years back, that armor is actually can be placed in these same carriers as well. So it kind of allows us the best of both worlds to be able to carry more equipment. Moving that equipment from our duty belts up to the chest allows the weight distribution to be better. It alleviates stress on the lower back and hips. This is something that's really taken, across the country is really taken off. They're seeing long-term benefits just ergonomically from not sitting all that stuff in your vehicle and having it on your hips all day long. So, but it will also allow us to carry more things that we currently can't have with us all the time. The courthouse security guys have access to that stuff, but they don't have a way to carry it with them. Now with this option, it allows them to have that PPE on their person, ready to respond to whatever they need to right at that moment.
Okay. That pretty much covers the description of the 4 projects. I'll entertain motions on this unless you guys got some other questions or discussion.
Nope, we had good material given to us.
Okay.
Bill, is this your motion?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Yours.
matter. Mine?
Yeah.
I'd make the motion then to approve these selected project expenditures, contribute.
If you want all four, the totals up above.
That's what my motion, I would like the motion
Yeah,
to
it's
be.
the top.
492, 386.
492, 386.
And Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve these selected projects and expenditures to contribute $492,386.79 from the American Rescue Plan ARPA Fund. There's no further discussion or questions. Roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 12 on our agenda this morning is resolution number 2021-0035. And this is to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund for Marshall County cash contribution using ARA funds of $27,461. I did mention a little bit earlier, these are dollars that the county puts forth, and the state gives a much larger matching amount for this. So for the county putting forth $27,461, the state contributes $144,531. So it's a pretty good bang from its buck. These are for a public purpose, so we do cover all of the different needs for the state on this. Entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to adopt the resolution 2021-0035 to approve the Region 6 Housing Trust Fund Marshall County cash contribution using our funds of $27,461.
I'll second.
Okay. Marty, you have anything you want to add to this before we vote?
I guess I would just comment, the trust fund has been around for 10 years now. We started back in 2010, and I guess through 2020, we've spent about 1.4 million here in Marshall County. Marshall County has been a great partner with us on this project. The county has contributed 322,000 towards that about 1.4 million that was spent in the county. Since the tornado back in 2018, the fund has contributed about 700,000 towards tornado-related repairs around the county. So we've done a number of projects here in the county to help the county recover from these unfortunate storm events. And the fund is all directed to persons of low and moderate incomes as well. So we've largely done owner-occupied housing improvements, but we've also done some low-income housing tax credit improvement projects here in Marshalltown to do affordable rental units for people around the county. So we think it's been a great project to help families, to provide quality housing and to provide quality rental housing that's at reasonable rates. So I appreciate your interest and time here today. So thanks for your support.
Any further discussion or comments on this item? Nope, there being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Okay, moving right along to item number 13 on our agenda this morning is to approve the state alcohol permit for Buzz B Meadery Incorporated at 1755 340th Street, Melbourne, Iowa, WCN 000167, Class C native wine permit with outdoor service. This is a 12-month and it expires on 9/30/2022. Entertain motions on this item, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the state alcohol permit, Buzz B Meadery Incorporated, 1755 340th Street, Melbourne, Iowa, WCN 000167, Class C native wine permit, outdoor service, 12 months, expiration 6/30 of 2022, 9/30 of 2022.
Okay, on this particular item, I will second that. To approve. Any further discussion or comments?
I stopped down there to pick up some gifts for folks right after they opened. And I bet there was 30 people sitting around their yard in different small groups,
Nice.
trying to social distance their first weekend they were open. So it was a gorgeous day too. That helps, but it's a nice little place we have here in Marshall County
it's
that's
been
kind of a gem,
Just buzzing.
just buzzing.
I think it's a beautiful facility.
It is,
They do a
it's
nice job.
just lovely.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. No further discussion or comments. Roll call vote, please.
Slosson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Item 14, we moved to our agenda earlier. So we're on to item number 15, which is public forum. This is a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in public forum. Anybody on Zoom that has anything for public forum? Okay. Anybody here? Nan?
Thursday, Friday of this week, we have furniture coming in to the annex for the county offices that will be assembled for them to move next week. So we're planning on moving them early next week out of the basement of Great Western Bank. So that is Community Services, VA, Public Health. So that will fill that facility. There's still a couple things left to do at the annex, but it's looking really nice if you haven't been in there.
It's really something.
It is extremely nice. Also, Building and Grounds has done a great job on the election center, and we are now to the stage, they've got everything built, countertops, shelving is in. We need some more shelving put back together that we moved from this building, but we don't really know where we want it yet. So the election team is going to begin working on getting things set up and put in their proper home, their forever home at the election center on second floor.
You know,
That's
the
our big thing.
The annex really came out absolutely phenomenal. Is there a way we can do like a walkthrough tour that we can put it on YouTube and let the public see that?
Absolutely.
Because the public really can't get in and out of there with a lot of the things.
We can give.
I know you don't have
Deb
anything on
likes
your
doing
plate.
Deb likes doing those and making Lucas talk and go through there, so that.
Give Lucas a 360 camera, and he can walk through like he's done before on the dome towers and things.
You know, it's just,
I'll wear my cheapest t-shirt.
there you go.
Put that on your
It'd
list.
just be really nice for the public to see.
It
'cause
is, it's neat.
absolutely phenomenal.
It really turned out
Yeah,
well.
the improvements, you betcha.
And the basement, the way that was dug down, it was real low ceilings, and now it doesn't make you feel confined and like you're in a basement. It's
And
just
that third
really
floor,
nice.
we never, ever had an opportunity.
Oh,
to
it was a
use
scary
before.
floor.
Yeah. So, you know,
Since you could see down to the other floors, it just,
There's some very nice offices in that building now, so.
Well, and the floor would kind of bounce.
the floor moved. That's never a good sign in a building.
anybody else? Paul?
I just wanted to let you know that I'm gonna have 3 public postings for positions in my department because I've got some upcoming retirements. We have done the internal postings and had a couple of operators move around, but we will be hiring, from the outside, we'll be hiring 1 motor grader operator, 1 truck driver, and 1 mechanic. And we'll have the postings out here in the next week.
Anything else for the good of the order? There being none, we're going to move on to item number 16, which is adjournment. The next regular session is September 28th, 2021 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the County Auditor Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021 at 12 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned at 9:50 a.m. Thank you, everybody.